As someone who's seen over 400 anime over a span of 15 years, I'm here to tell you guys why atrocities like One Punch Man, Blue Lock, or Berserk keep on repeating despite their manga success. And no, it's not the animator's fault. It surprisingly goes way deeper than that. For One Punch Man, however, the case was fairly straightforward. The manga got serialized in 2009, and 6 years later, it was picked up for an anime adaptation by Madhouse. Now, for context, back in 2015, anime's overseas revenue was only about 583 billion yen, and now 10 years later, that number exploded to over 2 trillion yen, which is more than triple in just a decade. That is why studios today treat anime like massive cash cows and not just passion projects or promotion for the manga, where shows like No Game No Life or Akatsuki no Yona get spectacular adaptations and then disappear off the face of the earth with no hopes for a season 2. Now back to One Punch Man. When its first season came out in 2015, it absolutely dominated the charts with extremely high audience demand. And if you were watching it on Kiss Anime at the time, it did numbers like nothing else. All of this was because Madhouse, the studio behind banger shows like Hunter x Hunter or Death Note, was the one behind season 1. But then they dropped it and showed no intention of returning for a second season. Which meant 3 things. 1. The publishers or the producers didn't have big enough brains to lock in for a second season, and so the animators from season 1 dipped to find other jobs. And when talks were finally in for a season 2, the dream team behind season 1 had their hands full with other projects. 2. Since the first season set such unreachable expectations, the producers weren't willing to overspend their budgets trying to meet them. Even Murata's panels would have them shaking in their boots. And finally, they were busy with all these other shows. And so they gave up on One Punch Man to prioritize the rest. In short, they had the foresight of a goldfish. But as time went on, somebody figured out that One Punch Man was indeed beyond its time and was very much worth the investment. And so it passed from the hands of Madhouse to a studio called JC Staff. And if you know JC Staff, you know that they were the worst possible choice to handle this, because they are known for shows like Shokugeki no Soma. And if God forbid you've seen it, you'll know the action is the last genre JC Staff could be entrusted with. And we know very well that One Punch Man isn't a shoujo nor a slice of life. So this was by far the worst matchup between studio and anime. And once again, unlike popular belief, it's not the animators or studios who are at fault here. I mean, they did decide to give Garo this spectacular slide-in, but if you paid me peanuts to work 80 hours a week, then you know I'm cardboarding the heck out of this thing. So if the animators, the studio, or the directors aren't at fault, who is? It is the production committee, aka a bunch of brain-dead people in suits who cut corners to earn money, not knowing that investing in a series like One Punch Man could produce Demon Slayer levels of fame and fortune. And unfortunately, it is this production committee that handles the schedule, the budget, and the deadlines for something they don't even do. So even if the studio wants to give series like One Punch Man the justice it so desperately deserves, they cannot for the life of them. Literally. As for the profits these animation companies make, only a little trickles down to the animators who work 80 hours per freaking week, while streaming platforms or publishers like Netflix or Crunchyroll get to keep the bigger chunks. Which is why studios like Madhouse or MAPPA rotate teams or just completely drop projects because the animators are either overworked or underpaid or both, while the production committee hoards all the profits. The entire animation industry is then stuck in this vicious cycle because the 2 trillion yen they make goes into licensing or streaming platforms and not the people selling their souls to make it happen. Which is why we keep seeing the same pattern in amazing manga with rushed or inconsistent anime adaptations and then long breaks or sudden studio switches. It isn't that these animators suck at their jobs, it's just that their employers would rather maximize profits at the cost of their employees' livelihoods, or in this case, their lives itself. So the next time you see an adaptation flop like One Punch Man, don't blame the animators. Blame the system that works them like machines and still wonders why the gears keep breaking. And until studios have creative control again, we'll keep getting these half-baked masterpieces that deserved way more. Such is the sad state of affairs of the Japanese animation industry, or every industry for that matter.